The Yacht Party You Voted For, Part 1. From Dancing While Nigeria Drowns by Professor Mark Anthony Nze. Election night in Nigeria doesn't conclude with solemnity or national reflection. It concludes on a yacht. Not in the metaphorical sense, a real yacht. Moored discreetly in the blue-guarded waters of Banana Island or floating quietly somewhere between Lagos and selective memory. Here, beneath crystal chandeliers and behind velvet ropes, the true winners of democracy gather not to count ballots but to uncork bottles. The air smells of Dior perfume and imported privilege. A saxophonist plays high life on command, serenading men whose only political ideology is access. Models imported from Brazil and Johannesburg, hired by the hour and dressed by the euro, drift through the party like ornamental lobbyists. Their smiles are part of the decor, their contracts as confidential as the election results. The governor-in-waiting leans back in his chair, his armada cascading like a declaration of excess. He is not adjusting it out of discomfort. No, it is simply swollen with foreign currency, sewn into the lining like contraband righteousness. Beside him, the chief strategist, who just last month posted threads on Twitter about good governance and the voice of the people, is now whispering policy proposals into the ear of a model whose primary political interest is champagne and proximity to power. This is not governance. This is choreography. A choreography of conquest, decadence, and the carefully curated illusion of divine selection. Outside, the country wheezes under generator fumes and deferred dreams. A woman who exchanged her vote for 5,000 naira and a half-used bag of rice crouches before her stall, trying to stretch a cup of gari into a miracle. A first-class graduate, once seduced by hashtags and hope, now refreshes his inbox like it is a shrine, praying for job offers that never come. But back on the yacht, the only emergency is the temperature of the moment. Victory, says a senator-elect, swirling cognac with the dexterity of someone who's been stealing for decades, is evidence that God is on our side. He says. The room nods solemnly, like a coven of well-fed prophets. Their gospel is graft, their altar is opulence. A DJ begins to play Afrobeats as a troupe of influencers arrive, each filtered to perfection and paid to pretend. They take selfies with men they will not remember and dance with names they cannot pronounce. Somewhere between the shrimp cocktail and the offshore account discussion, a $1 billion naira contract is awarded with a handshake and a wink. This is not a victory party. This is a televised betrayal sponsored by your belief in ballots. Meanwhile, journalists hover near the buffet, holding cameras and dignity with equal shakiness. They will file reports later that night describing a peaceful transition and celebration of democracy, carefully cropping out the half-naked model draped over the speaker-elect. Their reward? A warm malt, a meat pie, and an envelope that smells suspiciously like silence. The poor, ever patient, ever patriotic, gather in front of flickering televisions, cheering names, but have emptied their pockets and colonized their futures. They wave flags with hands that haven't held employment in years. When the power cuts, as it always does, they use torchlights to applaud politicians who promised them uninterrupted electricity. But let us return to the yacht. Here, morality has left the group chat. The same man who cried during his acceptance speech now presses his crotch against a beauty queen while whispering about road infrastructure. The woman who screamed accountability on the campaign stage now giggles through a deal to smuggle her third child into an Ivy League college with your tax money. The only policy here is pleasure. The only legislative agenda is leisure. And you, dear voter, are not on the guest list. You are the cost. Your vote did not elect a servant, it sponsored a spectacle. You are not the constituency, they are. You are the camouflage. Your poverty justifies their philanthropy. Your suffering funds their sanctimony. So the next time you hear fireworks after an election, remember, they are not celebrating you. They are celebrating your gullibility. You are not at the party. You are the reason for the party. They are not dancing on democracy. They are dancing because, once again, you believed them. And the yacht sails on. Professor Mark Anthony Ujunwa Nze is a distinguished Nigerian-born investigative journalist, public intellectual, and global governance analyst whose work spans critical intersections of media, law, and policy. His expertise extends across strategic management, leadership, and international business law, where he brings a nuanced understanding of institutional dynamics, cross-border legal frameworks, and executive decision-making in complex global environments. Currently based in New York, Professor Nze serves as a full-tenured professor at the New York Center for Advanced Research. There, he spearheads interdisciplinary research at the forefront of governance innovation, corporate strategy, and geopolitical risk. Widely respected for his intellectual rigor and principled advocacy, he remains a vital voice in shaping ethical leadership and sustainable governance across emerging and established democracies.